Hi everyone, this is a video series covering the 100 endgames you must know. We are going to cover all 100 of the endgames, starting with this one, endgame number 1, which is about the square of the pawn and about shouldering. So that being said, let's hop right into it. So with the position on the board, we see that white has a pawn, and the question is, can that pawn promote without the help of the king? This is where the concept of square of the pawn comes into play. So the square of the pawn, the size of the square, is determined by how far away the pawn is from promotion. So it's white to move. So if white moves to a4, the size of the square is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we draw imaginary lines like this. And if black's king can step in anywhere within the square, that means black can stop the pawn before it promotes. And if black can't step within the square, then they cannot stop the pawn. So in this example, the square extends this far, and black can step, but it's not within the square, and therefore they cannot stop the pawn. So if we follow through in this example, bam, black could not stop the pawn no matter what they did. And it is a great concept for you to avoid calculation in an endgame like this. And if we just go back here for a second, let's say white did not play the only move to win, a4, they played a3. If white did something like this, well, guess what? Now this is what the square is after white moves. After the side with the pawn moves, this is what the square looks like. And now black can step into the square. And now, white is not winning this endgame. Just to follow through here, it looks like this. And the really cool part about this is that it doesn't even matter if black stays near the back rank. Like, black could, if they really wanted to, do this, go forward like this, just to go backwards. It doesn't really matter. Black is within the square of the pawn. So that's the first part of the endgame number 1. The second part of endgame number 1 is about shouldering, the concept of shouldering. So let's look at the second position now. As we see, white is much, much closer to their pawn and much, much closer to guarding the promotion square of the pawn. And in this position, white can avoid any calculation at all and just play king c7, shouldering black's king from getting to the d file and therefore the c file, and keeping guard of the promotion square. So and here black is busted. Black can't do anything at all. Like, for example, if black tries to wrap around and get in front of that pawn, it is all for naught because the pawn promotes without any issues. And yeah, that's the concept of shouldering. This specific example given by the author, Jesus de la Villa, this specific example isn't that great because actually in this endgame, you can just push the pawn, and so believe it or not, it is actually winning because in this position it's black to move and white can promote. But still, that requires calculation, and this concept of shouldering requires no calculation. You just win. So, yep, that's endgame number 1. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for endgame number 2. Thank you.